Well, personally, I don't think there's going to be a military conflict anytime soon or in near future, because recently in the Bali G20 summit, President Xi and President Biden actually met. And I remember President Biden came out of that summit and he held a news conference. And basically he said that he doesn't think China mainland will attack Taiwan imminently. And so basically, that if President Biden thinks that China is not going to attack Taiwan anytime soon, I'm sure that that topic has been communicated in the summit. What I see actually, historically, for so many years, China has established diplomatic ties with the U.S. for more than 4 decades, and Nixon visit has happened over 5 decades ago, and so there is a common understanding between China and Chinese government and U.S. government, and through the 3 joint communique, where they said, U.S. and Taiwan can maintain cultural, business, and other unofficial ties. Remember the word unofficial ties, which means there's no official visit or exchanges. I mean, other than the economics and culture and commercial. So we've been seeing late number of years, there's a number of U.S. senior officials visiting Taiwan. I mean, starting from Trump era, the Assistant Secretary of State actually visit Taiwan, and we have many congressmen, senators visiting. So every time they visit, I think China, maybe showing their protest or or displeasure. They fly over midline or do a bit exercise like that, really to show their protest. But I think nobody was really expected that the 3rd highest ranking official of U.S., which going to, the ranking wise after president, vice president, the 3rd highest ranking, who has the legitimate position to succeed the president and vice president if something wrong, happened in the U.S. government. So very senior, and she actually went to Taiwan with a big delegation. So that is really, I think, a big violation of these unofficial ties. So that's where I think China has launched again a protest of military exercise around island of Taiwan. I think that is, that is really to show the strong protest. But you just see the pattern every time that there is a visit or there is a violation of the 3 communique of this unofficial visit, unofficial ties, that not maintained. China, always respond. So in other words, I think U.S. was more proactive, China was more reactive. So that is where the situation happens. I think the future of Taiwan. I mean, recently we've seen the KMT has a big swept of the victory, sweeping victory of the midterm. A majority of the mayor seats was taken by the KMT, and the president of DPP, Tsai Ing-wen, resigned after that, of the DPP party chief. So you can see that KMT, which is a party from mainland and has fled to Taiwan, 70-some years ago, they still think they still recognize one China, 92 consensus. So I think if they are really back to the power, for example, in the 2024 election, there could be more room to discuss, of course. But even, during their tenure, when they were governing Taiwan, there's a lot of exchanges. There's millions, 5, 6, 7 million mainlanders tour Taiwan every year. There's student exchanges. There's marriages between the mainland and Taiwan, and there's Taiwan enjoys the biggest surplus with mainland, and a lot of agricultural product was sold to mainland. And there's more than 1 million Taiwanese working in the mainland. So I think if that is that kind of momentum maintained, economic integration maintained, I'm sure mainland and Taiwan could be peacefully reunited, and also China mainland has said they can do one country two system, but also even said that if they merged with Taiwan, authority doesn't have to pay the federal tax for the mainland, and they can have a lot of autonomy. So things can be discussed. I think we need to really promote that peace prospect through economic integration, and so I'm not thinking that there is going to be a war unless there is a separatist movement, there's a strong foreign interference. But other than that, I think status quo is good, and that's been maintained for the last 4 decades. And I think through the gradual integration of economic people-to-people exchanges, and I'm sure eventually the Taiwan and mainland will be reunited. The wisdom of the Chinese across the street will find a solution to this a long overdue issue that the Chinese people, they share the same culture, heritage, language, and tradition. I'm sure they will find a way to work this out.